back in October. I woke up in the morning, my foot was a little kind of red and swollen, and I thought, well, this hasn't really happened before. And late in the evening, drove over here to the ER. I was thinking, well, I'm going to pop in, they're going to look at my foot, yep, you need an antibiotic, I'm going to be heading home. A few minutes later, the doctor and somebody came back and they said, well, we're going to put you over in this little side room over here for a little bit. We have something we're concerned about. And the next thing I knew, they had me in a room and they scheduled me for a GI scope, and on the lower part of my esophagus, near where the esophagus meets with the stomach, they found a tumor. My name is Tim Whitmore. I'm 59 years old. I live in Holden, Missouri with my wife, Debbie. We've been married for 36 years, and I have 3 adult children. I'm the pastor of the First Christian Church and the First Presbyterian Churches over in Holden. I also substitute teach in the school system over there. I'm a diabetic, and I had a diabetic wound on my left foot. It's never really caused me much of a problem, but back in October, I woke up in the morning, my foot was a little kind of red and swollen. I called my podiatrist. I said, hey, I think my foot's getting infected. Can you just call me in a prescription for some antibiotic or something? And she said, no, I can't do that. I have to examine it. And by the way, I'm out of town, so if you really feel like it's a problem, you should go to the nearest ER. I finished substitute teaching that day. We had youth group that night at the church, and I finished up with the youth group, and then late in the evening, drove over here to the ER. And I was thinking, well, I'm going to pop in, they're going to look at my foot, go, yep, you need an antibiotic, I'm going to be heading home. They, put me in the little kind of ER triage room and took a look at my foot, but there's some procedures that they have in place there as far as blood testing and things like that. A few minutes later, the doctor and somebody came back and they said, well, we're going to put you over in this little side room over here for a little bit. We have something we're concerned about. Their concern was my hemoglobin, which normally ranges like 13 to 17 or something like that, was at 5.1. The next thing I knew, they had me in a room. Dr. Ghazali did a GI scope, and on the lower part of my esophagus, near where the esophagus meets with the stomach, they found a tumor. I had no symptoms from it. I had no idea it was there. I don't have any history of cancer whatsoever in my family. Because of the fact that the ER and everybody followed the procedures they're supposed to follow, they found a serious medical condition that I didn't even know I had. Boy, they just moved really quickly after that. Dr. Ghazali called in Dr. Singh. Dr. Singh came in, and because I had multiple problems, I had the foot that was infected. I had the tumor that they just found, so they were kind of trying to figure out what to do. And Dr. Singh, the first day I was in there, he wrote on a whiteboard like 8 different things. We need to do this, we need to do this, we need to do this, we need to do this. And as each day went by, each item got crossed off, and he was really awesome. It ended up I did have osteomyelitis in my foot, so they had to remove a toe because all the infection has to be gone before they can start chemo. I do put a lot in my faith in God and the prayers of the worship community and whatnot, but I think part of that is God putting you in a place where you can get the best possible care and the best possible results. And I'm just incredibly blessed that I ended up here. After I went through the first 6 chemo treatments, they did another scope, and when Dr. Ghazali did that scope, the tumor was completely gone. They took biopsy samples, and there was no malignancy in the biopsies. So, the result so far has been just the absolute best that could be expected. And the fact that they detected that there was a problem, that they went looking for it immediately, that they aggressively jumped on the treatment, has a lot to do with where I am today. Probably if I had known what was going on, I may not have come here, because I may have thought, well, Warrensburg's a little town of 20,000 people, and there's probably larger organizations. I'm not that far from Kansas City. You might expect a relatively smaller town hospital to maybe be behind the curve. They're not at all. They're at the edge of the curve, and because of that, I'm confident about the future. I think I landed in the best place I could have landed, just somebody with a foot infection who's looking for an antibiotic, I don't think I could have landed in a better place, really. Everyone from the doctor that was in the ER that night, to Dr. Ghazali, who did the scope, to Dr. Singh, who jumped in and just kind of took over and really made things happen, and the level of care just was phenomenal. I want the people in the ER to know that because of the procedures that they follow and because of the attention to detail that they have, that they caught a very serious condition that very easily could have been a much worse outcome for me. And so yeah, I don't think it's over dramatic or hyperbole to say that the ER saved my life.